Welcome to today's explainer. I am so incredibly excited to guide you through this session. Today, we're embarking on a very focused, deliberate journey to master 3 absolutely crucial JLPT N4 grammar points. You know, if you've been studying Japanese for a while, you've probably stared at these 3 structures, scratched your head, and wondered why on earth they look virtually identical but act entirely differently in a sentence. It can be incredibly frustrating. Well, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have absolute clarity. We're going to break down these nuances step by step so you can use them with total confidence.
Okay, let's dive into this. The core problem we face as learners is right here. We've got koto ga dekiru, koto ni naru, and koto ni suru. So what do they all have in common? They all pivot around that little word koto. And because they share this exact same foundational building block, it creates massive confusion. I mean, how are you supposed to express basic concepts like your abilities, your personal decisions, and the outcomes of situations around you without mixing them up? It's literally so easy to trip over these, but the moment you see the distinct logic behind each one, everything changes.
So, here is our agenda for today. First, we'll look at the great koto confusion. Second, we'll cover koto ga dekiru for ability. Third, koto ni suru for personal choice. Fourth, koto ni naru for outcomes. And finally, number 5, the ultimate wedding test. We're going to give each of these its own dedicated spotlight, so there's no rush. Section 1. The Great Koto Confusion, Setting the Stage. So mastering this trio isn't just about passing the JLPT N4, though, that's a fantastic goal for sure. It's actually about unlocking a massive portion of conversational Japanese. These aren't just obscure textbook-only phrases. Native speakers use these structures constantly to navigate everyday life. Let's begin with the most famous of the trio, koto ga dekiru. This is the standard, slightly formal way of expressing can or to be able to. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, doesn't Japanese already have a potential form for verbs? And yes, it absolutely does. But koto ga dekiru brings its own specific flavor. It adds a layer of formality, and more importantly, it isn't just used for physical or mental ability. It's heavily used to describe whether something is possible due to the surrounding circumstances or rules. It's the difference between having the physical strength to do something and actually having the permission to do it. Mechanically, it's beautifully simple to build. Step 1. You simply take the dictionary form of any verb. Just the plain, basic dictionary form. No complicated conjugations required. Step 2. You attach koto ga deku right to the end of it. That's literally it. You just take the base verb and append this phrase. Let's look at how this works in action so you can visualize building the sentence yourself. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of personal ability. Watashi wa Nihongo o hanasu koto ga dekiru. I can speak Japanese. Take a second to look at the Japanese phrasing there. Here, the verb is hanasu, to speak. It's in its dictionary form. We add koto ga dekiru, and suddenly we're describing a direct, personal skill that you possess. It's a very clear, slightly formal declaration of your capability to the listener. But look at how the exact same structure adapts to a totally different scenario right here. Koko de shashin o toru koto ga dekiru. You can take photos here. Notice the contrast with what we just looked at. This isn't about whether you physically possess the skill to press a button on a camera. I mean, hopefully we all have that skill. Instead, it means taking photos is permitted or possible due to the specific circumstances of where you are. The rules of the museum or the park allow it. That is the dual power of koto ga dekiru. Section 2. Koto ni suru. The power of personal choice. Right. Now that we've conquered ability and possibility, we're shifting gears. We're leaving the realm of what you can do and entering the realm of what you actively choose to do. This is koto ni suru. The core identity of this grammar point is all about personal agency. It's used to express a decision made entirely by your own volition. When you see or hear koto ni suru, I want you to immediately picture yourself grabbing the steering wheel. You are in charge. You made the call. It's your personal choice. Now, the mechanics here are slightly different and very important. Step 1, you take the dictionary form of a verb if you are deciding to do something, but you take the nai form of a verb if you are deciding not to do something. Step 2, you add koto ni suru. However, listen closely to this. In everyday conversation, you will incredibly often see it in the past tense, koto ni shita. Why? Well, because usually by the time you're telling someone about your decision, the decision has already been made. It's an active, firmly decided choice that you are now living with. Here is a perfect example of a positive decision. 毎日運動することにした. I've decided to exercise every day. We take the dictionary form 運動する to exercise and add koto ni shita. By using that past tense shita, you are signaling to the listener that your mind is made up. This isn't a wishy-washy I might exercise kind of thing. You've made the resolution, you've taken control, and you are now following through with this new daily habit.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we want to express a negative decision. Osake o nomanai koto ni shita. I've decided not to drink alcohol. Look at that nai form right there, nomanai. Combined with koto ni shita, this isn't just a casual thought. It frames a powerful, personal boundary that the speaker set for themselves. You chose not to do it, and you own that decision. Think of it like a firm New Year's resolution that you are strictly holding yourself to. Section 3. Koto ni naru. When the world decides. But what happens when you aren't the one holding the steering wheel? We have to shift our narrative tone entirely here. Introducing koto ni naru. This grammar point also describes a decision or an outcome, but here is the absolutely vital distinction. It wasn't necessarily your choice. It's used when a decision has been determined by a group, your company, external circumstances, or just plain fate. Culturally in Japanese, this is incredibly common because it softens statements by removing direct blame or personal agency. It naturally translates to English phrases like, it has been decided that, or it turns out that. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the total lack of personal control it implies. Raigetsu, Nihongo iku koto ni natta. It's been decided that I'm going to Japan next month. Let's paint a vivid picture for this scenario. Imagine you're sitting at your desk, just sipping your morning coffee, and your boss suddenly calls you in and tells you that you're being transferred to the Tokyo office. You didn't make the choice, the corporate machinery did. The outcome was decided for you, and so you use koto ni natta.
Section 4. The ultimate wedding test, putting your knowledge into practice. All right, you've learned the mechanics and you understand the logic. It's time for the ultimate test to see if you can truly distinguish between the personal choice of suru and the external outcome of naru in a high-stakes scenario. Let's look at this dramatic comparison. On the left side, we have kekkon suru koto ni shita. We decided to get married. This is a romantic, personal choice. It screams, I chose this. We chose this together out of love. Now look at the right side. Kekkon suru koto ni natta. The translation shifts to the wedding is happening or it has been decided we will marry. This gives off a completely different feeling. It implies that perhaps it was an arranged marriage, the families agreed, the complex planning is finalized, or the machinery of the wedding is simply in motion. It's a statement of an event that is happening to you, rather than emphasizing the personal romantic volition behind it. One single verb literally changes the entire underlying story of the sentence.
So the crucial point is captured right here in this simple, three-part framework. Let's cement this logic into your memory once and for all. First, if you have the physical skill to do it, or if circumstances make it possible, you use koto ga dekiru. Second, if you made the active choice, if you grabbed that steering wheel, you use koto ni suru. And third, if the world, fate, or someone else made the choice for you, you use koto ni naru. If you can remember these 3 bullet points, you have conquered this grammar completely. These 3 koto structures show up constantly on the JLPT N4, and more importantly, in real-world Japanese. You now have the tools to tell your personal decisions apart from external outcomes, clearly and confidently. Keep practicing these sentence patterns and visualize who is making the decision every time you speak. So I leave you with this final thought. In your own language learning journey, are you just waiting for fluency to happen to you? Or are you going to say, "Benkyou suru koto ni shita," and take the wheel today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep at it, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.